Good morning, I'm Craig DeGrelli. It's Friday, March 28th, 2025, and these are your Unbiased Updates. Vice President JD Vance heads to Greenland to visit the American base on the biggest island in the world, how his trip is scaled back, and what's on the agenda. Also, hundreds of foreign student visas revoked, the way the State Department is cracking down on pro-Palestinian students at universities across America, and the Secretary of State's message to those who intend to cause what he calls a ruckus.
From the Straight Arrow News Studio, bringing the stories that matter to you from across the United States and around the world, these are today's Unbiased Updates.
Today, Vice President JD Vance and his wife Usha are traveling to Greenland on a trip that the administration has now scaled back after an uproar among Greenlanders and Danes who said the original itinerary was planned without consulting them. The couple's one-day trip to the self-governing Danish territory comes as relations between the United States and Denmark have soured after President Trump has repeatedly suggested the United States should take control of the territory for national security reasons. The Vances will visit the U.S. Space Force outpost at Bidufik today after the trip's itinerary changed this week over concerns of violating diplomatic custom by sending a delegation to another country without an official invitation. National Security Advisor Mike Waltz was originally supposed to go on the trip with Usha Vance, not the vice president. Earlier this month, 4 of the 5 parties elected to Greenland's parliament agreed to form a new coalition government, banding together to oppose Donald Trump's plans to take over the territory. Canada's Prime Minister is vowing to protect his country's workforce, businesses, and economy after President Trump announced he's slapping 25% tariffs on all imported vehicles. In a speech Thursday, Mark Carney said Canada will move quickly to trade more with other countries because it is clear, in his words, the United States is no longer a reliable partner. He also said the new tariffs are unjustified and violate existing trade agreements.
I reject any attempts to weaken Canada, to wear us down, to break us so that America can own us. That will never happen. And our response to these latest tariffs is to fight, is to protect, and to build. We will fight the U.S. tariffs with retaliatory trade actions of our own that will have maximum impact in the United States and minimum impacts here in Canada.
Carney earlier announced a $1.4 billion strategic response fund to protect Canadian auto jobs affected by the American tariffs. He also said he has a call scheduled with President Trump, but did not say when. A federal judge has now ordered the Trump administration to preserve records from the text message chat in which senior administration officials discuss attacking Houthi rebels in Yemen, only to inadvertently include a journalist from The Atlantic in the group messages. Judge James Boasberg, who is the same federal judge who has tried to put a stop to deportation flights, barred the administration from destroying messages that were sent over the encrypted messaging app Signal. On the chat, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth specified the exact timing of the warplane launchings and when the bombs would drop, including a strike window for doing so and where a terrorist target was located. The Atlantic published the entire Signal chat on Wednesday. Some lawmakers have called on Hegseth and National Security Advisor Mike Waltz to resign. However, Hegseth and the White House have insisted that no classified information was leaked. Federal immigration agents have detained a University of Alabama doctoral student, according to the university and ICE records. Alariza Daroudi is an Iranian citizen studying mechanical engineering. The Department of Homeland Security says the U.S. revoked Daroudi's student visa, and authorities arrested him because he, quote, posed significant national security concerns. Though court records show so far no criminal charges have been filed against him. This comes as Secretary of State Marco Rubio announced the Trump administration has revoked hundreds of visas from foreign students who are pro-Palestinian, and he issued a warning to anybody intent on coming to the United States to cause, in his words, a ruckus. Straight Arrow News reporter Lauren Taylor has a deeper look.
Maybe more. It might be more than 300 at this point. We do it every day. Every time I find one of these lunatics, I take away their visa.
His comments come 2 days after federal immigration officers took Rümeysa Öztürk, a Turkish national PhD student at Tufts University, into custody. A spokesperson for the Department of Homeland Security said the student engaged in activities in support of Hamas. However, the specific activities weren't made clear.
Oh, we revoked her visa. It's an F1 visa, I believe. We revoked it, and here's why. And I'll say it again. I said it everywhere. Let me be abundantly clear, okay? If you go apply for a visa right now, anywhere in the world, let me just send this message out. If you apply for a visa to enter the United States and be a student, and you tell us that the reason why you're coming to the United States is not just because you want to write op-eds, but because you want to participate in movements that are involved in doing things like vandalizing universities, harassing students, taking over buildings, creating a ruckus, we're not going to give you a visa.
Öztürk is currently being detained in a detention facility in Louisiana. Earlier this month, Mahmoud Khalil, a former Columbia University student and green card holder, was also taken into custody. The administration said he played a major role in disruptive pro-Palestinian protests on Columbia's campus last year. Khalil maintains his innocence and points to his right of free speech to protest. Senior Justice and State Department officials told Axios that the administration is also considering plans to prevent certain colleges and universities from enrolling foreign students if a significant number of them are pro-Hamas. The Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression told Axios that the premise of decertifying entire universities is a worrying escalation.
That was our Lauren Taylor reporting. On Wednesday, labor unions representing university professors filed a lawsuit claiming the detention of non-citizen students and faculty is a violation of the First Amendment. In Southeast Asia, a 7.7 magnitude earthquake rocked Thailand and neighboring Myanmar today, causing the collapse of a high-rise building under construction in Bangkok and forcing hundreds of thousands of people to evacuate from their homes and workplaces. The midday tremor was followed by a strong 6.4 magnitude aftershock. Preliminary reports from the U.S. Geological Survey indicate the quake was a shallow 6.3 miles with an epicenter in Myanmar. The greater Bangkok area is home to more than 17 million people, many of whom live in high-rise apartments. So far, there have been no reports of casualties. Finally this morning, the Elite Eight portion of the March Madness bracket is taking shape after the first Sweet 16 games tipped off on Thursday. Straight Arrow News sports reporter Chris Francis has the highlights from the hardwood, including a dramatic overtime game.
After a few days to catch our collective breath, the NCAA tournament resumed Thursday with the Sweet 16. No Cinderellas left in the big dance. Every team remaining is from a Power 4 conference, and there's only one double-digit seed. That's 10 seed Arkansas. But it was another SEC team that put on an absolute show in the first game of the afternoon. 2 seed Alabama crushed BYU by dropping an NCAA tournament record 25 three-pointers. Mark Sears had 10 of them. His teammate Aiden Holloway had 7. When you're hot, you keep shooting. And Bama did just that. They scored 113 points to move to the Elite Eight in the East region.
For my teammates also, they kept encouraging me to keep shooting and keep shooting and keep shooting. And, you know, that's just show trust in them that even though when I'm not at my highest peak, they still trust and want me to shoot the ball. So, you know, it's a big shout out to them. And, you know, just, they went under the ball screen and I was able to get my rhythm early.
Continue that hot shooting, and there won't be many teams that can hang with the Crimson Tide. They're in the Elite Eight for the second consecutive year. Top seed Duke is probably one of those teams that can score with them. The number 1 seed in the West, SEC champion Florida, went back and forth with the 4 seed Maryland in the first half of their matchup. But a 12-2 run out of the locker room in the second half opened things up a bit for the Gators. They did have trouble stopping Maryland freshman Derek Queen, who scored 27 points, but Florida dominated the glass and they got some balanced scoring. 5 players in double figures. They win it by 16.
We were elite in the second half. You know, we did a great job staying aggressive, you know, handling their pressure and their quickness and their length. Our defense stayed consistent. We were awesome on the glass all night, both sides of the ball. And we started taking advantage of, you know, the opportunities we got in transition. And, you know, that allowed us to step on the gas a little bit and break away from them.
The Gators are moving on to the Elite Eight for the first time since 2017. They're on a 9-game winning streak, and they'll meet 3-seed Texas Tech Saturday. Friday's action is anchored by the other two #1 seeds. Auburn and Houston have been strong in the South and Midwest brackets, respectively. Here's a look at the games on tap Friday. 4 SEC teams are playing, 3 Big Ten teams in action. It's quite the lineup. Kentucky and Tennessee, they've already played twice this year, with Big Blue winning both times. All of those games and Thursday's results lead us to the Elite Eight this weekend, which should have some really powerful teams remaining. We will have a Final Four when all is said and done Sunday evening. For Straight Arrow News, I'm Chris Francis.
Thursday was also a big day in baseball. Major League Baseball's 125th opening day featured many big homers and late-inning rallies, with the Orioles and Yankees headlining some of the big wins. Baltimore's Tyler O'Neill extended his opening day record with his 6th straight home run. And the New York Yankees' Austin Wells hit a leadoff homer on opening day, a Yankees first, get this, in their 122-year history. Wow. And coming off a record 121-loss season, the Chicago White Sox start 2025 with a big 8-1 win over the Los Angeles Angels. How about that? While the Houston Astros beat the New York Mets 3-1. The San Francisco Giants rallied with 4 runs in the 9th inning to beat the Cincinnati Reds, and the Padres rallied in the 7th inning to beat the Atlanta Braves. Meantime, defending champions, the Los Angeles Dodgers, are opening day favorites to win the next World Series. They were already 2-0 after sweeping the Cubs in the Tokyo Series, and Thursday night they defeated the Detroit Tigers. Meantime, the defending champs, the Los Angeles Dodgers, are opening day favorites to win the next World Series. They were already 2-0 after sweeping the Cubs in the Tokyo Series, and Thursday night they defeated the Detroit Tigers. By the way, Ohtani is going to pitch and hit this year. That ought to be interesting. And by the way, the Red Sox won on opening day. That's big. We didn't mention that. You guys are going to get me in trouble with my wife. She's a diehard. Red Sox win, and a bunch of others. Those are your unbiased updates for this Friday. We'll see you back here on Monday. For all of us here at Straight Arrow News, I'm Craig DeGrelli. Have a great day.